Okay, so we've added pupils, right? Sorry, we've added subjects into the system, right? But now what we haven't done is to map the subjects that belong um, to 12C. So before we can even export the pupil, of course we can export the pupil list, but the thing is we cannot actually insert these records if we haven't mapped the subjects to this particular class. So what we need to do is to we can go to classes, right, and we can select 12C over here. Notice that on your right it shows you the list of all the subjects in the senior section. These are all the subjects in the senior section, and none of them is ticked, which means that none of these is assigned to 12C. So there are two different ways that you can assign subjects to classes. The first one is you can use this one where you select a section and then you select the session, and it shows you all classes and all subjects in this particular session and section. Then you can map, so the following subjects, they belong to the following classes, right? You can do that. But for simplicity's sake, for now, we're going to use this other one where we simply select one class and we can tick which subjects belong to this class. Alright? Here you're seeing all the subjects in the section and which ones have been assigned to a class. There you can see all the subjects assigned to a particular class. So sometimes you may find that there are confusions, especially for those of you who have old data. It could be that you assigned a subject that belongs to junior, you assigned it to a senior class. So you can actually use this tab to check that. So for now, let's map. We know that art, biology, civic education, English, home management, literature and English, maths, RE are in 12C, right? Let's check again. Math, English, biology, science, civic education, home management, literature, RE, and art. Yes, these are the subjects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's one that we are missing. Let's see. Math is ticked. RE is ticked. English is ticked. Biology is ticked. Which one are we missing here? Science. Oh yes, science is the one that we're missing. So we also tick science. And then you simply click at the bottom here. There's a button that says update class subjects. Okay, so that's the one that we tick, update class subjects. And yeah, so you can see here it even tells you that there are 9 subjects that have been assigned to this class. So now that we've done this, let's now go to where you submit results is gradebook, and there's this button that says submit subject results. And what we're interested in here is to pull all the pupils that belong to 12C. Okay, so we select 12C and you can see that it loads. Now initially when you load this page, it doesn't show you the pupil ID. Okay, it only shows you the last name and the first name. So what you need to do is right click on any of these columns. So like where it says last name, I right click there. I can then go to column chooser and I need to pull this one. So you can see there's this small window that pops up. I pull pupil ID and I put it just next to or before last name. This is very important because when we'll be importing this data, the system will simply be looking for this pupil ID. We're not going to be using last name, first name, because there could be like 2 or several pupils with the same name in the same class. So the system can't use the names to identify the pupils. It will be using these IDs that you have there. Okay. So we're going to use this as an initial part of our template. So remember again, the template should have the pupil ID. Now these names are only there for us to be able to see, you know, which pupil are we adding the result for. But later on, when we actually want to import the data, we're going to remove these 2 columns. So the template needs to have the pupil ID, the subject ID, the score, the year, the term, the class ID, and the school ID. This is what you actually need. Okay, so we're first of all going to use this. So we went to gradebook, and then submit subject results. We selected our class, which is 12C. You don't need to select any subject because all we need is a list of names. Then once we have the list of names, I said right click, go to column chooser, and then pull the PPU ID, which is what I've done here. I've put the PPU ID there, and then you can click the print button at the bottom. There's a print button here. Okay, so when you click this, it brings you this export file. Then you go to there where it says export, then select Excel, then say OK, give it a name. So let's call it we can say results 12C, like that. We save it. They will ask us, do you want to open it? Yes. So we open the file immediately. So we wait for the file to open, and once it opens, you can see we have this. Now what we need to do is to add those other columns that we need here, like the year. So we have the PPU ID, we have, but before the score, so you have PPU ID, last name, first name. Before the score, we need to have the subject ID. Okay, and after the score, so we can basically copy what we have here in 12D. After the score, the next one that we need is the year, the term, and the class ID and the school ID. So we just paste these like that. Now, what is important again to note here is these names that we've imported are already sorted, okay, according to last name and then first name. That's how they're sorted. So you have to be very careful here, because you can mess up these results, assign results which don't belong to certain people and all that. So you have to be very careful. So the list that we've alright, so these names are sorted, yeah, like I was saying. Yes, so we're getting somewhere. We have the PPU IDs, that's what we need, and then we have the names that are sorted. Then we can fill in this part of the year, the term, the class ID, and the school ID, because these we already know. These results are for 2019 and term 1, and then the class ID, we know we're dealing with 12C. So remember in the previous videos where I showed you how to import PPUs, there's a way that you can export the classes. So you go to let me just close this. You can go to administration, and then you go to your classes. If the class ID is not showing, let's assume that the class ID is not showing, you right click on any column, go to column chooser, pick the class ID and just drag it there, and then you can say print, and then you can export it. Okay, then I can say, so let's do this, there's that here, then I can say export it there, and that's how I came up with this Excel sheet that shows the classes. Now the class we're dealing with is 12C, so simply copy that and take it to results there. And remember I said for the school ID just put 1. So this will be the same for all the PPUs that we're going to be adding, and all the subjects will be the same. So we drag like this up to the last person in the list there. Alright, now we know that we have how many subjects here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 subjects. So what this means is that with this template of ours, these records here have to be repeated 9 times, because we're going to be having each subject here. This will be like, for example, ID 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. This is one. This will be a record for one subject, and then another subject, and another subject, and another subject, and another subject. So that's what we're going to end up with. Okay, so what we need to do is to copy these records 9 times. Well, it will be 8 times since we already have the first time there. So what I advise is in the beginning, just leave a space for you not to be confused. Leave a space like one line, and then paste in the next line like that. You paste like that. This will be the second subject. Wait a minute. Before we do that, notice one thing here, that on the school ID, I was dragging this, but it was actually incrementing the numbers. But what I want, it should only use school ID 1. Okay, see that? Here, it should only say 1. So when you do that, always make sure that it says copy. Well, when you know that you want the same value to be replicated everywhere, then just say copy cells, not few series. Okay, so now that we have the right ID there, we can again copy. So I just pressed Control Shift and then down arrow. It went all the way. So I'll skip one line. I'll paste for the second subject, and then again I'll go to the bottom, skip one line, third subject, fourth subject, fifth subject, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth. So now we have for all the 9 subjects that we're going to do, we now have the records that we need. Okay, so we simply, so now the next thing is to start putting in the subject IDs. We'll put in the subject IDs and then we'll put the scores as well. Let's save this for now. So how do we get the subject IDs? We first look at the subject that we want to add the result for. So we go back here. The first one we want to deal with is mathematics, right? So you can see we have math, we have English, and so far up to the end. So we want to deal with math, so we go back to our system. Let's close this. We go back to our system. We go to subjects. We are interested in seeing what is the subject ID for math. And remember, don't just look at, oh, there's math there, and then you assign. Look at the section here. It should say senior. So you need to filter this. Filter it by senior so that it only shows you senior subjects. Okay, so that when you see math there, you'll be seeing math for senior, not math for junior. If you remove the filter, you notice that we have 2 mathematics subjects. There's one for junior and there's one for senior. So if you just pick any ID, you may end up picking this one for junior, and then it would mean that you're entering results for a senior class but under a junior subject, and that would be a mistake. Of course, there's a way you can you can correct that on our online system, but it will be like a waste of time. So make sure that you filter here and only pick senior subjects. Then right click and say column chooser and show the subject ID. There's a column there there's a field called subject ID. So this will show you that. And you can see that mathematics has ID 1. So this is the one that we go and put in here for the first part. Okay, the first subject we're entering is subject 1. The ID is 1, and just drag up to the last part here before remember I told you to leave one blank line, so you know that each blank line is like, okay, now a different set of, it's a different subject, a different subject, different subject. Later, of course, we're going to remove these blank lines. So we've put subject ID 1, and the next thing we just want to do is now to copy the scores. So you go back to where you have your scores, click the first record, scroll down, press Shift, and then click. So you've selected all the cells here, and then just go back here, click on the first empty cell underscore, then paste. So you have your results there. You can see they go all the way up to the last person. Then we move on to the next subject. The next subject is if you go up there, the next subject is English. So again, go back to the system. What is the ID for English? It's 3. So we come over here and we put 3 here. We scroll down up to where we have a blank line there. So we have 3. Just make sure that the ID here shows 3. Then we just need to copy the scores for 3, which will be here. English is this one. So we click the first cell and then go to the last cell, press Shift, click. We're copying everything and go there and then paste. So we now have English. The next one from English, come back here. The next one from English is biology. Alright, so we need to check the ID for biology. Biology is 5. So we go back there, put 5 here, drag up to the end just before the last cell. There we have 5. Then go up, click the first cell, go back to there. This is biology, and then go up to the end, press Shift, select, copy, and then paste there. you have your biology set. And then we now need to do for the next one, which will be what is the next one? Control home. From biology we have science. So what's the ID for science? Science is 6. Alright, so we come over here and we put 6 there and drag for all the PPUs. This is ID 6. Just make sure that you don't spill this over to, like beyond the empty cell. Please make sure you verify this, because what you might end up doing is you end up putting the same for the same subject. You're going to have duplicate results, but actually you'd have made a mistake. Okay, so that's why I emphasize that make sure there's a blank line here, just to help you to differentiate. You can say that this is the same set of pupils that we're using, but we're doing these results for different subjects. Okay, so ID6, which is science, I guess. Yes, is it? Yes, it's science. So we want to copy the scores, not together with this title, no, just the scores. So we select the first score, scroll down, and then there we have copied that, and we go to here and paste. Now after science, what comes? After science we have civic education, so we go back. So this is why I said you must add the subject first, because if you didn't add the subject, then you wouldn't be able to get these IDs. So you need the IDs, and that's why you must add the subjects first. So civic education is already there, so it's number 7. We come over here and put 7 there and drag up to the end. There we have civic education. Now we need to bring in the scores. So again, like I said, just click from the score and scroll down, copy, and then paste. And then what will be the next one after civic education? We have home management. So we check for the ID for home management. Home management is 11. So we come over here, put 11 there, drag it all the way to there, and then we need to copy the scores. So home management there, and paste. Okay, and then the next subject is literature and English. Okay, this one. So literature and English, what's the ID? Literature and English is ID 12. So come over here and put 12. Put 12. And then we go back and get the scores. So literature and English is here. Go up to the last cell and paste there. Scroll down. The next one after literature and English is RE, this one. So what's the ID for RE? RE is here, it's number 10. Now you can see that this process is very error prone. You might make a mistake somewhere. That's why we advise that. I mean, this is like really the initial part where you have these things in Excel. You've not been using the system and you want to transfer your data from Excel, so that's why we have this. But afterwards, it's always best to enter your data directly into the system. Especially with the online system, people can enter their data from anywhere, whether it's a phone or a laptop, as long as they have internet access. It's easier that way. You're less likely to make all these mistakes due to copying and pasting stuff. So what was I even saying? What subject are we looking at now? RE is 10, and we have the ID for 10. I think it's supposed to be the next one here. So we put 10 there and we drag it down up to there before the empty line, and then we need to bring in the scores for RE. You can see that a lot of these pupils had blanks here, so maybe they didn't write. So we copy everything and then paste like that, And by the way, it's very important that you follow the same. Remember that it's the same list of subjects. I mean, the same list of pupils. So when copying these scores, you start from the very first pupil. You don't start from here or there or there. You start from the very first pupil up to the last pupil. That way, your results will be matching. Because if you miss any of these, you start from a different, or you paste wrongly, you end up assigning wrong results to to a different people. So please, when you're doing this, be very careful and let it just be once. Do it only once. Don't get used to importing stuff from Excel. You end up making a lot of mistakes, assigning wrong results to pupils. Okay. So now that we're done with RA, let's do with the last one, which is art, I guess. Yes. And art is 13. So we go back there and put the ID 13. ID 13 over there, and then we go back and get the results. So again, the first cell all the way up to the shift last cell, and we paste here like that. So now we have all the results, and we are almost ready to import. Okay, so first let's save. In the next video now I'm going to show you how to actually import this into the system, and then you can view your results. Okay, good.